Barakim Habarim, welcome to Messianic Moment Ministry. I'm Stephen Bruck. You know who you are. Today's the 20th day of January 2026. The world needs scientific proof in order to believe in pretty much anything. As such, to consider if God is alive or not, especially for those atheists or agnostics who might be in the crowd, we need to look at what science identifies as being alive. And we're going to do that right after the administrative stuff. So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe here on YouTube channel. Go back to my website, messianicmoment.com. Subscribe there also. Click the bell, set your notifications and everything so you'll know next time I post. And please like my Facebook page. And I invite you to join my group on Facebook. It's called Just God's Word. And if you like what you get here, you're going to love my books. There are 5 of them out there for you. You can get them through the link on the website or go to Amazon.com and put Stephen R. Bruck in the search field and boom, they'll show up. And one last thing, please share these messages, comment, give a like, anything. The more interaction I have with people, the better exposure I get on the internet. So it really helps this ministry to grow. Thank you. So for the purposes of this discussion, let's work with what Google AI describes as being alive. Okay, I'm going to quote here. In science, being alive isn't defined by one single trait, but by a collection of characteristics, including being cellular, organized, metabolizing energy, maintaining homeostasis, means a stable internal state, growing, responding to stimuli, reproducing, and evolving over time, especially a self-sustaining chemical system capable of Darwinian evolution. While non-living things might show 1 or 2 of these, only living organisms display all of them as an integrated system. Well, first of all, let's ignore the non-biblical element that Google states as part of being alive, specifically a referral to Darwinian evolution. And we'll just redefine that as being able to evolve. For the world to believe something is alive, it must meet all the above requirements. So, does God meet those requirements for life? Well, God never changes, so he certainly meets the requirement for maintaining homeostasis. And he's very organized. I mean, he created everything to work in harmony. That represents an A level of organization. And he definitely responds to stimuli, for instance, prayers and sin. But he isn't growing. In fact, he can't grow because he's omnipresent. And as such, he's already everywhere at once. So growth is impossible because, well, he's already as large as everything that exists. And he's not cellular because he's spirit. And as such, also, he does not qualify under the idea that he metabolizes energy because, well, he is energy. And he is the one and only God. As such, he does not reproduce because, well, he is the one and only. Sound familiar? And since he never changes, he cannot evolve. So there you have it. According to science, God is not alive. You know, back in the 1960s, there was actually a Christian movement stating that God is dead. Yes, this is radical, but still in all, it was a Christian movement. And they proposed that a traditional belief in a transcendent God was obsolete in a secular world, urging Christians to find meaning through human action and secular life. And this was inspired by Friedrich Nietzsche's phrase, God is dead, and championed actually by theologians like Thomas J.J. Althusser and William Hamilton. But if God is dead, then he must have at one point been alive, and being God, since we know that God is omnipotent, he can't die. So to be dead, he had to be alive, and if God was alive, being God, he couldn't die. And so what is it? Is he alive, or is he dead, or was he ever really anything? The answer to all this is actually pretty simple. God is not alive or dead because he is not flesh. He is an eternal spirit. One of the conditions for life was metabolizing energy, but God is energy. His existence is beyond the confines of physics or science, which are really the only way mortal beings like you and me can understand their surroundings. It's beyond all that. God's not alive or dead. He just is. You know, in Exodus 3:14, God tells Moses exactly what I just said when he describes himself. God said to Moshe, Ayeh asher ayeh, I am what I am, and added, here's what to say to the people of Israel. Ayeh has sent me to you. I am has sent me to you. God is not alive and he is not dead. As he states, he is. In Hebrew, we say, Hayah, Hoveh, V'Hayeh. He is, he was, and he always will be. This is why it's so difficult for human beings to understand him or to believe in him, because he does not fit into anything we can understand. It's also why we continually try to reduce him to something we can understand, reducing his omnipotence, reducing his authority, and even interpreting from the Bible what we want him to be saying instead of taking what he says for what it is. That's why there's so many different religions, all professing to worship the one unchanging God. We've continually tried to pigeonhole him into what we want him to be instead of accepting him, for what he is and who he is, which is beyond human understanding and way above our rules for existence. Only those who faithfully accept that we cannot understand God will be able to believe in his existence and thereby find joy in obedience to his Torah. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean people who are zealous for their own religion can't ever find joy. But what they think is joy in obedience to God is really joy in obedience to their religion, which more often than not is in opposition to God. They are misled by their devotion to a religion instead of devotion to God because they don't really know what God says to do in the Torah. And as such, their ignorantly joyful rejection of God will turn to sorrow when they meet him at Judgment Day. And that is truly sad. And a disaster for everyone who thinks they are saved but can't really be saved because they follow a religion and not God. Yeah, you know what? But that whole thing is for a different discussion. So if anyone asks if God exists, you can say he does, but not on the same plane of existence we humans are on. He can interact with us, and we can interact with him, but only at his discretion. God is not alive or dead. He just is. That's hard to wrap our mortal heads around, but that is what it is. Accept the fact, and you will be on the right track. Well, thank you for being here, and please remember to comment and like these messages. Also, please share them with everyone you know, even non-believers. Hey, after all, you never know how fertile the soil is until you plant a seed in it. Okay, that's it for today. So, V'hitrot and Baruch Hashem.